You never get a chance to make a second first impression. That's why having a prepared elevator speech is so important. An elevator speech is a concise introduction that you have at the ready to bring out at any time when it's necessary to make a good first impression. What if you were to run into your CEO, a person of influence at a networking event, or you ran into the man or woman of your dreams on the street? Would you be prepared to make a quick introduction that would make a lasting impression? In today's world of social media, speed dating, and online profiles, being able to describe who you are and what you do in a concise way has never been more important. It's really easy to make an elevator speech. It really has a couple of simple elements. For one, say your name, but state it very, very, very clearly. Remember, people meet so many people at networking events and during the course of the day. Make sure that your name makes a lasting impression. What do you do? Don't just say, well, I'm a chiropractor. Explain why you wanted to become a chiropractor. Talk about how you serve and talk about how you make people's lives better by what you do. It's also important to add your awesomeness factor. An awesomeness factor is not just what you do, and it's not just who you serve. It's that little thing about yourself that makes you stand out from the crowd. You might be somebody who's a CEO, but you also might be a scuba diver. That is an awesomeness factor. So remember, it's important to say what you do. It's important to be very clear about what you do. But the most important thing is to make a lasting impression. Now, more important than that is the close. Never walk away from an introduction without a follow-up. I used to want to fire my inner critic, but now I decided not too fast. My inner critic is the person that gives me grit. It's the reason that I get up in the morning. It's what gives me drive, and it makes me want to jump out of bed and be my personal best. Today we're going to talk about inner critics. Inner critics can be your biggest enemy, but your inner critic can be your best friend. The best way to get in touch with your inner critic is to really get an idea of what their origin is. Try to figure out who they remind you of, what they're saying. Is their message consistent? Do they remind you of somebody from your past? Do they remind you of somebody in your present? The next thing I suggest is that you befriend them. Give them a name, make it something funny. By humanizing them, you take away their bite. I suggest you make your inner critic your friend. For me, my inner critic is no longer my nemesis. My inner critic is my muse. Today we're going to talk about work-life choices. When I created the balancing act, I created it because I truly understand that we're never really going to get balance in our life. What we can really hope to do is to make the kind of choices that will help restore us to balance when we feel that our lives are spinning out of control. The way this came about was every December for about 5 years, I would start my vacation being completely depleted. And I would try to think of the things that would help restore me back to my normal self. What I realized at the end of the week after doing this experiment, that wow, what if I was to, at the end of each week, to restore myself by doing these things that really brought back energy. So I started to think of it almost like a work-life equation. And I put together what I call the balancing act list. The first thing you do is you list all of the things in your life that are depleting your energy. Maybe it's a boss, maybe it was a bad review. For each one of them, you're to list them and you're to give them a score from 1 to 5, depending on how much they deplete your energy, 5 being the worst. At the end of the week, you add them up, and here's the fun part. Now you have to balance your act. You have to choose different things over the weekend, and you have to decide what things help restore your energy. So say it's going to the movies, maybe that's a 3. Maybe going on date night with your husband is a 5. Maybe taking a walk with one of your girlfriends could be a 3. The trick is, at the end of the week, is to balance your act so that you get back to 0. Then you can start your week off refreshed and ready to go.